Now, a shocking, archaic act that played out in Tamil Nadu. A video of a girl student writing her examination outside classroom has sparked a lot of outrage because we hear that girl was menstruating, and the teacher decided to have that girl sit outside class. She was recorded by her mother, found her writing that exam on the steps of her school and not inside classroom. In the video, you see that student there. She's heard saying that the principal instructed her to sit outside. It was the principal's decision, and because she was menstruating. The class 8 student was on her cycle, and so she was made to write her annual examination outside classroom. Her parents had even requested a separate desk inside the classroom for her comfort, if at all she felt uncomfortable, but the principal decided to send her out of class altogether. The principal has now been suspended after all that outrage. She's been booked under Section 17 of the Right of Education to Free and Compulsory Education Act of 2009. The question remains, of course, is this, in this day and age, the right thing to do? Of course it's not, but while so much information is available, you have schools like this, principals themselves committing nothing short of a crime here, done by a female school principal, not even a man. I mean, information, education, gender, the understanding of women's psychology, all amounts to nothing here. The principal has enough knowledge on what a girl experiences, but as a lady, she still decides to put that girl out. Ideally, a principal who should protect the child, doing exactly the opposite. So what needs to be done to tackle this mindset? Let's take you through our panelists here. Dr. Nisha Najumuddin, activist and educationist, and also advocate Anubha Srivastava Sahai, the president, India-wide Parent Association. She's also a child rights activist. Nisha, your take on what we see in that video here, that very young girl, class 8 girl. For her, imagine what kind of impression this leaves for life. It's scarring. She will always remember that maybe her first bout of menstrual cycle, she was made to sit outside. Feels like an outcast, and that will never go.
It is indeed very saddening that even today, in the 21st century, we are witnessing such kind of instances, and that too in a school in Tamil Nadu, where the technology has been developed so much, where the people are being more civilized. In spite of that, we see all this. So I would say that menstruation is never a taboo. It has been a taboo maybe in the past, but not today. And I would say, or I would love to say to all the girls, women, and the entire society that bleed with pride. To bleed is not a shame, rather bleed with pride. And now when you again do not accept women for what she is, this is a physiological or let's say bodily changes that happens. It is something never like, she has to be kept aside. By doing such kind of thing, this shows that the lack of adaptability, the lack of acceptability of even the educational systems that is there in our country India today. We teach or we educate the children to be more equal, to kind of overcome such kind of scenarios. But what are we trying to teach the student today through such kind of examples? Such a shame that a country like India is still following the menstrual taboos, which is indeed a shame for people when they talk about progress. So I think we should start hashtag. I would say that hashtag the campaign bleed with pride, and that should be there right from the rural part of India to the urban part of India. Rather, such kind of period shaming and where the student is struggling. Just imagine the psychological and the mental
Yeah, that's
trauma
what I
the
said. It
child has
leaves a
received.
lasting
So this
scar. This is
is
something that she'll never get over. Yeah.
yeah, and this is like, forget about putting her aside. She will start considering, the child will start considering herself to be a taboo. Next time when she gets menstruation, she'll kind of completely put her down. And she feels that this is not only physiologically or putting her down, but rather psychologically it is giving a trauma to her, stating that even for the upcoming generation, this is again a taboo. This is not to be accepted at all. So we cannot even 0.1% accept such kind of heinous, and I would put it as a barbaric act also, because this is, according to me, it is kind of barbaric in nature, because just because you bleed, you make a child to sit out, and what do you get out of it? So are you really, gone out of your mind in spite of being, educated? The school or the principal and the entire facility of the faculties there shows that what sort of mentality they have. Such strict action should be taken against such kind of school and the authorities and the teachers for making the child to go through such kind of scenario. This should be a lesson indeed for the upcoming generations too, that they do not face all this. So this is very, very saddening
Advocate
as well.
Anubha, who's also with us, to give us a little more on the legal aspect here and what should be the immediate legal crackdown on an institution like this. And if this is a government-run school, what does it really speak of the government at all then? You know, their sensitization programs have clearly failed.
Thank you for having me on this show and a really shocking incident this morning when I got to know. I was also very shocked how come any teacher can discriminate any child or humiliate. This is not only humiliation, this is mental and physical harassment, child cruelty, which is a punishable offense in JJ Act. And I don't know why the administration, the school administration principal and teacher has not been booked under the JJ Act. They have been booked under RT Act, but the sections are not very serious. As far as the JJ Act is concerned, government should immediately file FIR against the teacher, administration, principal under JJ Act so that in future such incidents will not happen again. And I'm really shocked the way the teacher has been dealing in such cases, which is very sensitive. They have to, in fact, small children goes to school. It's the duty, responsibility of school and teacher make them aware about all these problems which young girls face. Instead of doing that, they are discriminating. So I'm really very shocked and very annoyed. I'm very disheartened after I got to know about this incident. Immediate action is required against the school, and lot of awareness is also actually, a lot of awareness is also required. Sensitization is required, and Child Rights Commission
Right.
should take suo motu cognizance in this matter.
All right. Well, you know, Nisha, you were wanting to say something. This girl,
Yeah,
her parent,
but
basically.
I
I just want to ask you, just a moment. You could, of course, lead in with your answer on this. The mother, we hear, asked the principal to help her with a separate desk to make her feel comfortable. And then the principal took it one step further and sent her out. So, does it also say something about parenting? What does it mean by sitting separately? Why is there a stigma? Can you take us a little through the context here? We know that this is deep rooted within most cultures in the world. Indian culture very infamous for that. Why do we look at menstruating girls as an other?
India is incredible in multiple perspectives. So now, when there is a menstruation period for a girl, or let's say when there's a period coming up, you normally tend to prevent that lady or that girl from doing the regular routine activity because the body is a little weak. But you need to understand, talking from a very spiritual perspective, the energy flow during that time is indeed very high. Many people do not know that. They say you don't go to a temple, you don't do any good activities. Okay, I agree to it. Maybe it is a part of your belief system, your cultural perspective. But then, in a place like an educational institution, putting her away or giving a separate bench and keeping her aside, when the mother is saying that, shows that even she has been feeded into a brain that this is how a girl or a child should be treated or a female should be treated. This shows that no matter you talk about women empowerment, you talk about bringing us on multiple perspective also, just because you bleed, you become a shame to the society. Just like your normal routine discharges go out of your body, bleeding is also a normal part of it. You cannot tell that it is actually a taboo or it is a haram something or it is something like, that you should not go through. That is why I said initially, we should start propagating the idea in schools in every part of India that bleed with pride. As a girl, as a woman, they need to understand that when they bleed, they are not anything less of to be considered. The social stigma that is revolving around the concept of keeping it separate is because in ancient days, when a lady is bleeding or a girl is bleeding, why she was totally kept away from all these holy places or rituals or all these things was basically to give more, kind of importance to a body perspective, because a lot of changes happens in the body. And you say that you cannot enter a temple. I agree to that. It is not. They are saying not to enter a temple is not because if a lady is menstruating and if she is laid in a temple, it doesn't mean that it is she's causing a sin. Rather, the energy circles doesn't match there. To understand this reality, people make a lot of stories based on religious perspective. See, I'm a woman. Even I come from a very orthodox family. During my menstruation cycle, I don't do pujas or whatever because I'm taught like that. But doesn't mean that I have to sit down and have a separate plate and separate glass of water to have, and I'm kept aside just like that. No. ऐसा नहीं है. So this is because our compared to the other Western cultures or any other cultures in India, we're a little more attached to our belief system. But doesn't mean that you have to be blindfolded or you should have a blind faith in things and totally put a
Yeah.
female down.
Right.
It's absolutely
All right.
ridiculous.
Well,
This is something
it was
ridiculous.
interesting to get a slight context. It's the difference of energy that led to maybe one believing that they need to be separated, but gone are those days and
Creed has
those
gone.
beliefs. I think
And this was
we've
told
come a
to
long
me
way in
by a Pandit
education and
again.
social
Once
acceptance.
when I, no, yeah, the thing is, I like to add a point. So once when I had this, because I do visit a lot of religious places, so I normally prevent myself from doing a puja or entering a temple during this time. So I just want to know the real reason behind it, and then I do respect all the cultures. So it's because of the energy shift. And by the way, a woman has a high level of energy shift during that time. So basically, because of that energy chakras, only they ask her not to enter into certain space. It is never like God said, "Oh, you are a taboo, go away." This is
Basically, it's
absolutely
perceived
ridiculous.
to be
So
unclean. Perceived to be unclean.
what is
Because that's the usage of word also, right? Once you get clean, then we
oh my
will.
God,
That's the
crazy.
way you say it. That's definitely the reference,
That's
even
bullshit.
used until date. Until date, that's the reference that's used on periods. When you're clean, then we'll go here. When you're clean, then we'll go there. So why
But then
is
oh God,
Anubha? Final
people
word
don't
to you.
understand this. But people don't understand that when you're unclean, because of the uncleanness only, you can even give birth to a new life to make it more clean. Oh my God, people are crazy. They need to come out of this
Ms.
stigma.
Anubha, your final word on the action that should be taken, and how would you see this? Why is this even perceived as dirty in the first place?
Yeah, see, I am again saying that the administration and even the state government should also intervene. This is such a matter that the state government should spread awareness among schools if they are not aware how to deal with such cases. And we don't think that we need any kind of guidelines as such for dealing such sensitive matters. And the strict action must be initiated immediately. They have not taken any action. They have taken under RT Act. But I request the government and authorities to immediately register FIR against the school authorities, administration, principal, teacher under JJ Act, so that in future no such cases will not be repeated and our children will go to school safely and will not be humiliated.
All right, thanks very much, Ms. Anubha and Nisha, for joining us on this very interesting story that has led to the principal suspension. We hope this sets precedence in the 21st century, in today's modern India. There's no place for this kind of bias.